Hey everyone, and welcome. So, you want to learn Python? We're going to cover the absolute basics in like the next 5 minutes, and I promise by the end of this, you will have written your very first real program. Sound good? Let's do this.
So, you ready? We're going to jump right in. But before we write a single line of code, let's just quickly answer the big question. What is Python anyway?
To put it simply, it's one of the most popular programming languages on the planet, and for a really good reason. It's famous for being super easy to read and write, which makes it perfect for beginners, just like you. But what makes Python so incredibly powerful is just how versatile it is. I mean, think about it. The same exact language is used for cutting-edge stuff like artificial intelligence, for crunching massive amounts of data, for building the web apps you use every single day, and even just for automating boring tasks on your computer. It's an amazing place to start because it can literally grow with you no matter what you want to build. Okay, take a look at this. This is it. The classic first line of code almost every single programmer in history has written. It's a super simple command. All you're doing is telling the computer, hey, just display the words hello world on the screen. Seriously, that's all it is. It's your first command to the machine. Now, to actually run that code, you'll need Python on your computer. It's super easy. Just head over to python.org and download it. But you know what? If you want to skip the installation completely, you can just use a free online tool like Google Colab. It lets you write and run Python right inside your web browser. No setup needed. All right, so printing a message is a great first step. But to build something actually useful, our programs need a way to remember things, right? They need to store and manage information. And that's where something called variables comes into play. So what's a variable? Honestly, the best way to think of it is just like a labeled container, like a box. You can put some information inside it, you slap a name on that box, and then whenever you need that information, you just call it by its name. And look, this shows that perfectly. On that first line, we're making a container, or a variable called name, and we're putting the text kapil inside. Then on the second line, we're making another container called age, and we store the number 20 in there. See? Simple as that. Okay, this is where it starts to get really fun. We can actually make our programs interactive using the input command. What it does is it pauses the program, asks the user a question, and then it takes whatever they type and stores it in that name variable. Then we can use that variable to say hello back to them personally. So far, our program just follows instructions one by one. But the best programs, the really smart ones, they can make decisions. This is how we give our code a brain, using what we call if-else logic. Let's break this down. The code is asking a simple question. Is the number inside the num variable greater than 5? If the answer is yes, it runs that first print statement. If the answer is no, it completely skips that and jumps down to the else part and runs the second print statement. This is literally the foundation of how all your favorite apps and games make choices. Now, you see that little bit of space right before the word print? That space is called indentation. And in Python, it's not just for looks, it's super important. It's how Python knows which code belongs inside the if part and which code belongs inside the else part. It's a rule that keeps everything organized. Okay, next up, what if you needed to do something over and over again, like, say, 100 times? You're not going to write the same line of code 100 times, right? That would be crazy. Well, that's exactly why we have loops. They're built to do repetitive stuff for us automatically. So there are two main kinds of loops you'll see. On the left, we've got a for loop. This is perfect for when you know exactly how many times you want to repeat something. This one here is set to run 5 times, and it'll print the numbers 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Then on the right, you've got a while loop. This one is different. It just keeps going as long as a certain condition is true. So this loop will keep printing high until the count variable is no longer 3 or less. We just have to remember to add 1 to the count each time so the loop eventually stops. All right, as your code starts to get longer and more complex, you're going to want to organize it into reusable pieces. The best way to think about this is like creating your own custom Lego blocks. You build something once, and then you can use that block over and over again. In programming, we call these functions. So yeah, a function is basically just a reusable block of code that you give a name to. You can package up a bunch of instructions inside it, and then anytime you want to run all of those instructions, you just call its name. It's a fantastic way to keep your code clean and stop repeating yourself. And here's a quick look at how it works. We use that def keyword, which is short for define, to create our function. We've decided to call this one greet. And see that indented code inside? That's what the function does. So now later on, anytime we type greet with the parentheses, boom, it runs that code and prints hello to the screen. All right, this is the moment we've been building up to. You've learned about variables, getting input from the user, and printing stuff out. It is time to put it all together and build our first real useful program. Let's make a simple calculator.
The logic here is super straightforward, right? We're just going to follow 3 simple steps. First, we'll ask the user for the first number. Second, we'll ask them for the second number. And finally, we'll just add them up and print the result. Easy.
And here it is, the complete code. Now, there's one little trick here. See how the input is wrapped inside int? That's just us telling Python, hey, please treat whatever the user types as a whole number, not just as text. After that, it's exactly what we talked about. We get 2 numbers, store them in A and B, add them together with a plus sign, and print out the sum. Done.
And just like that, you did it. Seriously, take a moment. You just combined everything we learned, variables, input, processing, and output, to create a real working program. That, right there, is programming. Congratulations, you're officially a programmer. So, if you had fun with this and you want to learn what to do next, let me know. Just comment Python roadmap down below, and I'll know you want more. And of course, if this helped you out, a quick like and subscribe would be amazing. Thanks so much for watching.